How did you cope when you lost everything? B didn't work. Was there a plan C?
Plan B would work. My frustrations came out and I had the soft-spoken person went off and the Punjabi in me came out.
Then people must have thought, is he mad? Harmeek, welcome to Achievers.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Harmeek, you are the founder and the managing director of Plan B in UAE. And in a very short span of time, Plan B has become a formidable force in Dubai. Tell me, what was the whole concept behind Plan B?
See, the concept, it began with something that I initiated while I came to that part of the world. I started working for somebody, learned it the hard way what the industry was. The next levels were reaching out or getting into something that I would normally do as being an entrepreneur and coming from a family as well. So it was difficult for me to take orders.
You lived in Delhi.
I lived in Delhi.
And why did you decide to move to the UAE?
It was a decision that was something looking on the cards because our family business went through turmoil.
Yes.
We lost everything, practically. I had to take a call. I had a family. So I planned myself to come to UAE where I thought there were things, opportunities I can avail. So I went and I looked out for a job, fortunate enough to get a job and learn from the industry.
But you know, it's funny that you chose UAE because you're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And there was an article that came out about the easiest places in the world to start a business in. And UAE was actually number 33 because their legislations are quite tough. So why UAE? They make it quite difficult, no? No?
No, not really. But if you talk about easy things, I think easy things don't lead to long term. And if you're working hard towards your bases get strong. And I don't like things coming easy as well. UAE had another reason because very close to India.
Yeah.
So it was something that I chose. And I had some of my family being there. So I thought it was going to be a home away from home, and which actually turned out to be.
Now, your family business, they were in electronics.
Yes.
Your degree was in English literature.
Yes.
You started a business which is actually quite a creative field. You're in advertising, in events, in branding, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I was surprised that you took English literature and not something like business management or a more creative field doing your master's. Why is that?
Okay, I come from a family where, as any other Punjabi family, I was a pampered kid.
Okay.
And I was fortunate that my parents were educated and they let me follow what I wanted to. I was never an avid follower for commerce or being a scientist or being an engineer.
Okay.
So I followed what I used to. I used to write. I still write. I'm a poet.
Oh, so you're a creative soul.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And that's where it began. And I followed that with my English literature. Ended up not into having any sort of objective of joining any industry at that point. But then again, that's what my parents let me do, and I followed that.
So what do you write?
I write about what I feel. I'm writing a book right now, and
Really?
it's through a journey that I have gone through, and I would like to share that with everybody once it is written, and people are going to know how this is all done. I come from an era where mobile phones were not there. I come from an era where people had time for themselves. I come from an era where competition was not there, but there was enough things which would probably propel humanity. So I see that journey, and I would like to depict that.
Do you think that was a better era?
I can say that anytime. I think we had time for ourselves, we had time for our families. That was a period where there was not something that we were wanting to cut throat and just come on top by any which ways and manners.
But not only that, in this era now that we have Twitter and Facebook and social media and our iPhones, even when we are with family, we are either working or we are networking or we are socializing on our phone. We have very little time for each other or family as such. Do you agree?
That's the answer that I gave you, and that's exactly what you mentioned. See, it was a time where I can relate to that because we used to have greeting cards. We used to have letters people used to write for birthdays or come along and send flowers. Right now, it's just a like on your Facebook page. Happy birthday.
Yes.
Yes.
But you say that, but on the same note, you always say that one has to think 20 steps ahead, and you have to be...
It's adaptability.
Yeah.
It's adaptability. You tend to, but then again, you don't change a person. I personally make efforts to do and I follow what I preach. So I do my efforts to do what I'm talking about right now.
Yeah. Now, you're an ambitious guy.
Yes.
You're extremely driven. Every child has a dream.
Mm-hmm.
What was your dream growing up?
My dream growing up actually was something that I was going with the flow. I was pampered to a level that I was getting everything that I thought of, or I
Were
would.
you the only child?
I'm the only son, and I have a sister. But then again, I was pampered, yes. So I used to get things very easy. That's why I tell you, I don't want things easy anymore.
Okay. Well, I think you didn't get things easy when you went to Dubai, did you?
But that was a reality check.
Yeah.
And once you are used to a habit or to come out of a comfort zone is very difficult.
How did it feel like to be that pampered and to be in luxury and then for art to be taken away from you so quickly?
It was very hard initially, but it was something that was required. I think that was the best lesson I've learned in my life.
What's that?
I had to be grounded. I had to be getting into the reality mode of things. It was not about me. It was about everybody else. So I learned it, and I came from bottom up, which has given me experience today to stand, talk, do what I want to do.
How did you cope when you lost everything?
I was on an emotional low, but I also had a grit because I saw my family, and I had no other option. I was just thrown in the water. I had to swim. So I had been driven by the love for my family. I had the passion to achieve, and that kept me going. And trust me, it's not about walking the whole mile. It's about the first 10 meters when you start realizing that you started to walk and you achieved something, and that gives you the push. So I was fueled by that.
Now, your first job in Dubai, you were not looking to be hired by an advertising agency, but that's the job that
I was taking anything that was coming my way.
How long did it take for you to land a job when you came to Dubai?
We are limited on visas over there. Everybody lands up on a visit visa. So my visit visa was expiring. And out of few interviews, this was my last. And this one, I was looking out for a job in sales. I used to think that I was good in sales. And that's the only thing that I brought on the table. But I was been given a hard deal, and rejection doesn't come easy for anyone.
Yeah, especially a pampered boy.
Yes, and I was like, literally every day I was just crumbling.
How many no's did you get before you got a yes?
10, 12.
That's not that many.
But that's the only interviews I could line up. Nobody wanted to meet me before.
Why is that?
It is driven with a CV when people look at, because I had to draft one. That was my first job. People look at the experience. People look at what I bring on the table. So I had nothing to offer apart from I'm just a fresh person on the cards.
Just someone eager to do something in their lives.
But then again, how does it being reached out to the person? It's about people who would. So I had fair share of interviews which were rejected. Amongst the last ones, I landed up and I was being conveyed that you don't have experience and you don't have a driving license, so why should I hire you? So my frustrations came out, and I had the soft-spoken person went off and the Punjabi in me came out, and I just very outrightly, I just stood up and I said, because you got an opportunity and you got experience, you're not passing it on to me, that's not fair. So how do you expect me to do that? And I walked out, and within an hour I got a call from the gentleman. He said, you have fire, so I want to hire you. So
okay, and that was the advertising agency?
That was in the agency which was doing advertising as well as digital printing. I was in the digital printing house.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier that your salary was quite low. It was like, in
£400.
UAE money, it was 2,750, I believe.
Right.
How did you make ends meet? That's very little money.
That's very little money. I had a small property back home in India. I took that as my fuel. I brought in, and I had my family as well come along, where people, when they go to that part of the world, they say, first earn, then bring your family. But I was the opposite. I could not let my family be a second-rate citizen somewhere else. I wanted them with me.
Yeah.
And the wife also realizes this, and she comes from a very good background, but she left everything for me. So when we came on the cards, we decided whatever happens, we're going to make it work together. So out of that, most of the chunk went for the rent.
Yes.
And the family was being fed well, and we used to think that when can we have a good sandwich over the weekend? But those are the days I can remember that. Yeah. But those were the days we were so positive as well. We were looking forward for everything that was happening around us.
Now, when you joined the advertising agency and you had no experience, so literally you had to, and you didn't even come from a background where you studied marketing or advertising and so on and so forth. So you had to learn from scratch.
Yes.
What particular did you find most challenging about advertising?
See, I being a salesperson, I had to know the product that I'm selling, number one. I was an avid follower. I'm a good learner as well, quick learner. I used to follow what people were doing around me. I think anybody who's got a degree, and I can tell you right now, degrees for me, they are definitely something that matters. But apart from that, practical experience is the best. So what I gained and what I learned was practical experience in the not very nice conditions as well. Because when people don't want you over there and you still want to survive, you learn, and I learned it, and the ground base was done properly. So what is difficult is to know your game. What is difficult is to know that the competition is going to do as much as what you're doing. How do you rate yourself up, or how do you actually just make it happen? So that's a strategy, and the strategy beefed up with honesty and hard work, I think that's the formula.
Did you have any mentors? Did you have anyone who advised you?
At that point of my life, I had left everything, and I did not have anybody who I would call as my godfather.
Yes.
But I was always having the support from my family. So my father was somebody that I used to look up to.
Yes.
He has weathered a storm before as well, when things crumbled. So I used to look at him, and he gave me a very sane piece of advice, and I figured that it was the right way to do things as well.
What was the advice he gave you?
He told me, if you want to make a brand, make your own. So I followed it.
How long did it take for you to acclimatize yourself to the UAE market conditions?
10 months.
It took you 10 months to figure out.
Yes.
Now, after your first job, you went to another company.
Yes.
And same field.
No, it was an extension. Digital printing and advertising, then ventured into media.
Yeah.
Media selling, space selling. I was fortunate, because when I left the job, I resigned in 10 months. I knew what was not coming.
You resigned, why? Because they didn't give you a bonus?
No. I was being promised. When I landed, my salary was cut down to half. And they said now it's going to be commission-based. So I worked my heart out. I worked really hard. There was a break between 1 and 4 over there in UAE. And I used to work between 1 and 4 as well, working as long as 20 hours a day, just to make sure that I meet my targets. And I excelled in that. So I was deserving of my stipends and my commissions, which were never coming. 6 months, 8 months, and then I could not make both ends meet. And I just said, I'm going to resign, and I did not get a fair deal out of this. I moved out, then I got an opportunity from the other company. It was not easy, because I was stamped with a ban not to come back to the UAE for another 6 months.
Why is that?
That's a law over there, where if you're not completing your agreement with the employer, they can stamp a ban on you.
So it's a very hostile environment to be working in.
Not really.
For a South Asian, it is.
It was 12 years back. Things have changed. Rules have changed now.
But then it was.
It was in the sense because there were employees who were doing things which were based on where employers also have their rights.
But if you're working for I don't know if your employer was Arab, but if you are working for Arab employee, do you have any rights?
We have all the rights. Human rights is something that has come up very on the level. It's come up, I think, very nicely as well internationally. Why is the reason where so many nationalities are coming and joining in UAE right now?
Of course, it's tax-free.
Yeah, I can understand coming from somebody who's residing over here. Yeah, no, apart from that, I think the regulations are very open. There is opportunity for everybody. And I think that's where people try to relate and excel as well.
Now, your next job, it improved things for you.
It improved things for me, yes.
Your salary increased also.
My salary increased. I was getting my commissions as well.
You were getting your commissions as well. But it didn't stop you from working hard. So you actually were working from 9 to 5 and then from 5 to 4?
Yes.
For yourself independently?
It was. I was, again, was something that I had worked hard for my previous company. I was getting all those people who I worked for, not to work for the company, but they asked me to work for them. There was a small buzz in the industry.
Yeah.
There is one Singh in Dubai.
So you took their clients?
No, I did not. I did not. I'm very ethical about that. I would not do that as well. When something followed me and they stopped working with them, then I asked my current employer at that moment that I have got this opportunity, which is not overlapping with what I am doing.
Yes.
They said, we have nothing against it if you want a service, and it was a service industry. So I came down and I started my employer knew as well, so I was not hiding anything. When they were not working, they could not do anything, and I did not approach anyone.
Yeah.
So the clients started to come to me, and I had this platform then to work as a freelancer as well.
Yes.
Where from the time that I finished my work, which I was ticking all the boxes, doing the right things so that I'm not being unjust to my job.
Yeah.
I was doing everything that was required, and I got a platform. So it went to a level that I was getting more clients based on the service levels that I brought. And within 10 more months, which I was in the new company, I had to take a call to start Plan B.
But you were earning, by that time you were earning like 200,000 dirhams a year.
At a point, yes.
Yes.
And a salary also.
And a salary also.
So, yes.
So wasn't there a risk attached to then opening your own
I was being asked by very good friends and very close people that you're doing the right things, why do you want to change that?
Yes.
Yeah, but then again, I remembered the advice that I got from my dad. So I wanted to build my brand, and I wanted to do test waters because I think advices have been taken from, and they come from everywhere.
Yeah.
But always follow your heart. So what I did, I followed my heart.
So if Plan B didn't work, was there a Plan C?
Plan B would work.
There was no Plan C then?
There was no Plan C, because if you're focused and your approach is honest, I think you will excel.
Okay, so you had faith in yourself.
Yes.
Now, what is Plan B's USP? Because from what I understand, it's an advertising agency, it's a branding agency, it's events agency, it's a one-stop shop for quite a few services.
Yes.
Does that not dilute the brand a little bit if it's too many things under one umbrella?
Okay, let me just clarify that to you. See, when somebody comes and tells you that I do everything, that's something that I would also consider that, is it a focal approach? Is the approach focused or not? That's why what I started with was my digital printing prowess, what I had on the table. That company started to rise. The next levels was to come into creatives. The creatives were taken up as well, so that company had a different department or division which was headed by somebody. Then I ventured into production, fabrication, which was for exhibitions.
Yes.
We came along. Next levels had to be, because if the client is taking the creative from me, the client is taking the printing and the fabrication, who would do the events? So I had to get an events company as well.
Okay.
Events company led to my new entities for the PR and marketing. And as I always like to see that I lead the pack with whatever is happening, I started following technology for the last 3-4 years. We added technology as well. And our digital house is operational. So all in all, each independent vertical works on its own. But as a complete package, we come as a package. So it's about people and their kind of convenience. If I'm selling you a suit, and if I ask you, I'm selling you ties as well, you would be willing to take the tie from me. So it's a one-stop shop.
But like in terms of advertising, how do you compete with existing firms like Molis or Adcom or Crayon Communications? They are big names in the UAE, and how do you compete when you're looking after advertising, events, PR, marketing? How do you compete with somebody who's just specializing in that?
I am not having this, I'm not managing it. I've got divisions and division heads who are taking a very focused approach. I have an overview, I've got a vision, I know the direction, and I'm driving it right now. So what it does, Crayon or whatever names that you've given to me, these people are not competition to us.
Okay.
These are people who would probably bring one aspect of this and they come to my other vertical. They're working with us. They would need us, but what we bring on the table is focused approach on competing with what they're doing bettering that as well, and then after that, the next levels between production to the end result. So it's from a concept to the end reality. We bring it all.
Your approach has been think outside the box.
Yes.
Do something nobody has thought of. What's your favorite campaign been?
My favorite campaign being recent ones, I have been constant. So I would give you an example where if I work for a division for Crown Prince of Dubai, which is towards heritage and making sure that we're connecting with the local audience, having the expats being given the knowledge about what their traditions are, and tapping into tourism as well. 6 years on the row, we have been taking the bar higher. And that's what we would see, that probably we are trying to tap in with different versions of what we can. Generation Next, if I go out and if I'm sending them a mailer, people probably might not want to read that. If I'm giving you a hand mail, you're not going to probably read that. We're tapping in with the language that they would understand. We went into digital. We went into something with application-based. We created games, so people are downloading and they're getting addicted, and they would know that what we're talking about. So it's the route that what we take. And on that creativity, we've been on the platform for the last 6 years and winning an award.
You're very serious about life, aren't you, Harmeek?
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm fun as well.
Really?
Yes.
What do you do for fun?
Right now, if I get any free time, I am spending it with my family.
Do you get any free time
Yes,
with all these businesses?
Now I make time for my family. Yes.
What do you do in your free time?
I would hook up for probably a very small thing. I'm a grounded person. I don't like to do flashy things. I don't want to go to a star hotel and just spend something. But I take short breaks, and I would like to probably just go out for a very normal movie with my family, which is for me a big high. I've been missing out on these things for a long time.
Really?
Yes.
You haven't been watching movies last 10 years?
No, I have been watching, but then again, mostly it has been on the plane.
Yes, of course. Now, when the recession hit Dubai,
Yes.
now whereas all the other businesses started cutting back, you decided to expand.
Yes.
So you went against the norm. Why? What made you think that way?
See,
That was forward thinking, you know, one does realize
now
that
we
now.
can talk about it as a forward thinking.
Yes. Then people must have thought, is he mad?
Yeah, I have been having this from a lot of people. But then again, and for me, an idea, whatever, people treat ideas as stupid till they have been performed and till they are actually just coming to shore. So what I saw at that point, somebody, and it was value for everything, somebody who was working at a salary of 25,000 wanted to work for 10,000. So it was all value additions. It was all about being ready. Recession or no recession, if you have the infrastructure, the base, and I had business as well, my whole strategy changed from looking out for a business worth 1 million dirhams, but going out and looking out for business for 50,000 dirhams and 20 of those. So it'll make up for what I'm doing already. I got into agreements. I took over spaces as well, rented few things which were priced at a bomb, but then again came down to realistic levels.
Yeah.
It helped me to make something which was there. People who cut down could not service because the business was still there.
But I remember at that time people were saying, oh my God, Dubai is going to go down, Dubai is over, it's never going to be. I mean, how did you know that it'll be okay?
See, I'm staying over there for a long time, and I see and I understand the market. You don't marketing is a very good tool. So when you're marketing yourself and you're in the limelight, anything that you do is highlighted as well. I did not see that UAE was going down so badly, and I saw a lot of business happen, and I was doing pretty well. I was retaining my clients as well by making contracts, which made sure that for the next 3 years they're staying with me.
Because you didn't lose any clients.
I did not lose any clients, and I made sure that I'm giving them extra services, cutting down my costs and bringing some extra bits for them by signing up a contract for 3 years, and that worked for me.
Now you have approximately 300 people working for you.
Yes.
You claim you know the names of at least more than 95% of your
I do, yes.
staff.
I would consider that.
You believe in investing in your workforce. Is that the key to success, you feel?
I think being connected as a leader, as a visionary, I can see certain things go in the direction, but if I'm not being backed up by my team, I would probably just walk the distance to a level. But the team also needs to be inspired. The team needs to be given a platform that what we're doing is right. So I like to see that. And for me, I think the lesson that I learned the hard way, that you do not treat people with what they have in their banks. You treat people for what they are. And for me, a person who has been with me for probably just as a carpenter for the last 10 years or so, I would still love to sit and have a meal with him.
Yeah.
And that gives me that kind of a high. And my connectivity is like this. So I think the team backs you up, and it infuses that kind of a positive approach towards whatever that we do.
But generally, it's said that the UAE workforce is not really very loyal because they're a very transitional workforce. People come in, are in a job for a year or 2 years, and then they're out. So
have you got your answer? Because I still have been retaining them for the last 10 years.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You managed to retain your...
I treat them as people, and I give them their respect. And that's what they also give it back to me.
But why do you feel that, not in your case, but otherwise, the workforce is so transitional?
See, like I said, I've got my own way of dealing with things. I have got a human face. So I'm not a corporate office. I don't work with, you're late, you're going to be deducted, this is going to happen. I have been backing my team, and I treat them as able partners in whatever that we do. So it becomes from somebody who's loyal to us. If you walk one step towards the company walks 3. I've had things which is personal, they have issues, everybody has, and we always stand next to them, taking care of that.
So you've managed to retain your workforce for all this time. Well done to you.
Thank you.
Now, how did you feel when you were nominated and won the Esquire Man of the Year 2013?
I was nominated and I won the award. It was not Man at His Best. It was for the upcoming businessman, and the title was Man at His Best.
Man of the Year.
Yes.
Yes.
I was happy because any appreciation is definitely something that shows that you're on the right track, and also that was I took very graciously on behalf of my team, which is where probably I just went on the dais, but then again everybody had a piece of that. So I was very happy about it, and the people would also know that what we are doing. So it's showcasing your work. People would relate to this, that what have we done and what we achieved.
Were you surprised when you won?
I was surprised, but then again after that, I've just kept my emotions in check, and I have got something which
But why do you keep your emotions in check? I can tell that you keep your emotions in check.
Let's meet after this interview.
No, please tell us.
No, I don't normally, but then again, I've got a code of conduct that I follow, which comes with respect. So respecting somebody and expecting respect is not keeping your emotions in check. Yes, I've got my side for my family. I've got my side for my friends as well. With experience, I've known that I don't open up with everybody, and it's to do with my experiences because I find honesty being not there. So I choose who I want to be acquainted with.
So you're very guarded.
I'm not guarded, but again, I have my own bubble where I have a good, small and a very nice world for me.
But that is being guarded. You just answered my question for me.
Yes, I am guarded because that's got a reason for it as well, because I've got a journey which showed me that no, it's not everybody should not be there.
Okay. So has the award opened more doors for Plan B?
You've only spoken about one award. I won very recently as the fastest growing company.
Yes.
From the Asian Innovators Award, which was 3 months back. So there has been few things that are coming our way, and I think we are on a roll right now. And that's where we are looking out for expansion. We're looking out for the next levels being created. Any visionary or anybody as an entrepreneur needs to look at what they are supposed to achieve. We need to have targets. So my vision has seen that 2015 needs to go places, and 2016 is already counted for as well. So we're working towards that, and I think that's where awards and appreciation would always be a part and parcel of that.
Now, you've visited London recently. You've done your Reiki. You've also said that with reference to events, that the London UK market is quite repetitive in its event, the way they do their events.
Yes.
Do you think that we in UK lack creativity?
No. I don't think the creativity is lacking. It's just to coming out of your comfort zone. I see a lot of resistance when people want to explore certain new ideas and they want to be repetitive. And I personally see with luxury brands like Bentley as well, where I won the account with competing with European agencies and people who were big brands all across. We have certain amount of limitations when you have brand guidelines and things to be followed, but you also have to be creative in how well you do that.
Yes.
So we tried and we have excelled in that. So what I see whenever I have been in events over here, and I follow as well because some part of my family is over here as well.
Yes.
I visit very often and I'm following the event scene. I see every time it's the same black and white.
Do you think the audiences are boring? That's why we create black and white events?
I don't think so, because it's to do with somebody needs to step it up. And I see some splurgers coming along from different areas, but I think it needs to be more constant.
Now, how important is it for a successful man to have a supportive spouse?
I think very. If I was not being off-guarded of how my children were growing up, I would have been probably somebody else today. I'm a family man, so what I saw that she took a very good role of taking care of the children, passing on what we have as our own traditions, passing on good education. I was there, but then again in patches. So I see that as giving me the leeway to work and to bring something on the table.
Now, has your wife been a huge pillar of strength for you?
Yes, she has been.
Now, in a magazine, you once said that women should realize that life is not a fairy tale and there are no prince around. And a woman's job is to make a house a home. Do you consider yourself to be a chauvinist?
Okay, this interview was not an interview. It was a pun-intended questionnaire, and it was meant to be funny, and that's what I had to come along. I'm not a chauvinist. I respect women.
Yes.
And that's how I see that, where probably if women, or anybody for that matter, I'm not gender biased as well.
Yes.
I'm not a racist. I like individuals, people, any human to be treated equally.
True. But it is true. Life is not a fairy tale.
Life is not a fairy tale. It was never for me. So, yeah.
Actually, it was a kind of a fairy tale when you were being pampered as a kid. It changed later, right?
It's all forgotten now.
Okay. How do you push through the most difficult times in business?
I think focus. We have everybody. Nothing comes as a constant straight thing. Nothing is on a platter. We work that much harder. I'm a very bad loser. So when I lose, I do my own homework. I look at things that how we went wrong so that we do not repeat ourselves on that. And being focused on that, I think we get it back most of the times.
What attributes do you think are essential for a person to be successful, for anyone watching this interview?
I have got 2 or 3 things that I follow. Like
Yes.
I said, I follow what I preach. Be honest. Never think that probably there's a shortcut in life. Always have the hard work as the formula to success. Third one is never let your passion die. If your passion is dead, you would not be even moving. So you don't want to be somebody who's just a body. The
Yes.
passion drives you, and that's the soul. Finally, when somebody is growing, never ever let your footing from the ground go anywhere else. Because people who fall down, they do not have their feet on the ground. Always have your feet grounded.
What's next for you?
Next is expansion, which we are already on the cards. Like I said, I want to have a few things done in the UK as well.
Yes.
I'm looking in for this being the window to Europe. I see a lot of potential two-way from UAE and from UK. So I'm looking towards this as one of the areas that we are expanding onto. Apart from that, we are already on an expansion to Kenya, to China.
Yeah.
And India is already there. In Abu Dhabi as well, we ventured out now. So we are looking towards some positive things happen.
Now, since you've diversified your business so much, what part of your business excites you the most? Like, is it the event side? Is it the marketing side, the PR side? What part of your business excites you personally the most?
Okay, our USP has been that we need to do things which is turning heads, like I've already mentioned
Yes.
before. Anything which is doing justice to our USP, which is to do with, it can be just a small model. I would give you an example, which you've got all the road signages, and you've got this in UK as well. You've got Clearview, you've got the other agency who's got all the hoardings and everything else all across UK right now. In UAE as well, there was a hoarding culture where you have a lot of big hoardings, which is marketing or probably just getting a platform for people to advertise. I came up with a strategy of bringing something which was a 3D hoarding, a 3D hoarding where we have the production in-house. I had 15 meters high giant Adidas shoes been done, and it was floored for 40 meters.
That's pretty cool.
People would stop, take pictures, it went viral, and it was something that was not done before. So people took a turn towards looking at what was happening differently, and that was creative for us. So that campaign went along, it was been approved for 2 months, it went along for 1 year and 2 months. And then after that, now the whole most prominent street, like the Oxford Street, is completely full of these 3D hoardings. So I take that ownership that the creativity began, and now people are following.
Are you proud of what you've achieved?
Everybody who works hard, they get contented. It's like getting something which is coming to life, and people appreciating that.
But you're not content yet, are you?
Contentment is something which is going to be sign of retirement.
Yes.
And
The
so
hunger is still there.
The hunger is still there. And like
Yeah.
I said, passion, if it is not there, then I would resign. And I come and probably settle down as a retired person.
I doubt that's going to happen anytime soon.
Not soon.
Now, I have some 10 very quick questions for you,
Sure.
and non-serious questions.
Okay.
Okay?
Change the mood.
So we can make you laugh a little bit.
All right.
What makes you mad?
Not been heard
What was the last gift you gave someone?
just recently.
No, what was the last gift you gave
I
someone?
went and bought some chocolates which my daughter had told me, and I went at midnight,
Okay.
bought it for her. She was
Okay.
sleeping. I woke her up and I said, I'm sorry, I forgot, but then I got it for you.
On death row, your last meal.
My last meal would be cooked from my mother's house,
But what would the meal be?
rajma chawal.
What is something that other people often misunderstand about you?
That I'm very serious.
If you had a dinner date, it's either Bill Gates or Michelle Pfeiffer. Who would it be?
Bill Gates. That's a cross already.
Okay. You're crazy about?
I'm crazy about music.
What kind of music do you like, by the way?
Anything that suits me.
Okay. Women are, question mark?
Women are very important.
Well, that's not a good answer. Women are, question mark?
Women are, question mark. Women are an integral part of your life.
You give such safe answers.
I have to.
No, you don't have to. You'll be a little risque.
I'm just telling you what comes to my mind.
Your most annoying habit?
Not eating on time.
Your idea of beauty?
Eyes.
You have no tolerance for?
Nonsense. And lies.
Okay. Thank you so much, Harmeek. Thank you. It was a joy interviewing
Pleasure.
you. Thank you. What does Raghav look for in a girl?
Bollywood is the kind of place that will give you a heart attack.
Have you had to walk away a lot?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Hey, he's like, I'm working with Natalie Cole and Stevie Wonder today. I'm not meeting this brown kid from Calgary.